Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the 505 Podcast. All right, we are back. It is a really special episode. I think it's probably going to be our best one ever.
Really?
We just don't have like a small rock figure interrupting us when our good points are coming out.
You know, it feels just lighter around the apartment.
There's less mess for sure.
Less mess.
There's less stuff being dropped, I would say.
Dude.
And a lot less stuff being forgotten.
And like our downstairs neighbors probably really appreciate the light footsteps.
Right. Finally, in conclusion, all audio things have been better. Any home recording's been better because there's been no fire alarm. Because there's been no smoky bacon. You know, that's a lot of smoky bacon to be made every day.
Dude, Braden cooks and then forgets that he's cooking.
Right.
Does something else.
Or he just super cooks, man.
Yeah.
Just all high heat always. That's like his life, dude. It's just always on high heat.
2 times speed, baby.
Yeah, but anyways, Braden is gone. He is in a faraway land.
Where is
living
he?
It up.
I haven't seen him in a minute.
We're not really sure.
Hasn't really been posting on social media. I don't know where he's at.
He's disappeared. He sent me a few just like mysterious texts. He said he's with James Bond, which is interesting.
Oh.
So I don't really know what that means.
Dude, you know,
he
honestly,
also took my camera. So we'll see. I guess it's kind of our camera, but
is he on a secret mission?
he might be on we don't really know what he does.
Yeah.
He has a fish tank. He might be a secret agent.
He claims that he works for the Lakers, but we've never been to a game.
He might be 0069. You know, just saying.
Shit.
Might be.
Dude, knowing Braden, he's probably on. He might be on an island with billionaires for all we know.
Speaking of 69ing, Rihanna and A$AP Rocky are having a kid.
Dude,
I know that's not how you make a kid. That's not how you make a kid.
It's physically impossible to make a kid by 69.
Which, just saying, try it out because then if you're worried about that. Anyways, that's pretty crazy. That's going to be a cool fucking kid.
I was thinking about it. Mm-hmm. I think we have A$AP Rocky, Rihanna's kid. Mm-hmm. We got Jay-Z and Beyonce's kid.
Right.
And then we got Kim Kardashian and Kanye's kid.
Right, that kid's going to be weird though. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool, but weird.
Definitely. I think that A$AP Rocky and Rihanna's kid might be in the running for like swaggiest celebrity kid. I'm excited to see how that turns out.
Yeah, dude. They're both so cool. Rihanna hasn't come out with a track in a minute. Speaking of tracks, you were just in Vegas, hey?
I was just in
Vegas.
Vegas.
More Vegas time for Kostas.
Dude. I'm thinking about buying a property there because I'm there so much.
You probably like all the big DJs do.
Exactly. Get into buying houses and stuff.
Oh,
Figure
yeah.
just
we
investing.
love rental properties, all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
We're into it. You were at Hakkasan?
Yeah. So last Saturday I was at Omnia. This this Thursday I was in Hakkasan.
Dude, the pictures look just insane of what I've seen.
The lighting was a little bit like easier and better to shoot in Hakkasan, which is interesting. I'm finding that like each venue is a little bit different, but it was a ton of fun. It was a Thursday night, so the send wasn't as crazy, but it was still popping off. Right. And I felt like I got some really good photos and content from Thursday.
Do you get do people start to catch on that it's Kostas that are taking these pictures and they come to the show and they're every once in a while, are you getting any love just like parading around with the camera on stage?
You know what's actually crazy? I bumped into my buddy Frank
Kaminsky.
Yeah, Frank Kaminsky.
Sick.
Shout out Badgers. Mm-hmm. I bumped into my buddy Frank, who was just like in the crowd. He sends me a text or a DM on Instagram. And he's like, yo, where you at? And like I see him and I grab him and his girlfriend. I brought him behind the DJ booth.
Dog, dude, that's just a friend move for life.
He loved it. Not quite though. I got recognized and got some fan love at Omnia, but at Hakkasan, not really.
Less of a summer break crowd at Hakkasan.
Yeah, I think the summer break fans go to Omnia.
And then what are like the deliverables when you're like a touring videographer? Like you got videos you're working on right now or what?
Yeah, I'm pretty fucking stressed, dude.
Yeah.
So they're announcing that they have a residency this whole year at Omnia Hakkasan in Wet Republic. They're part of the Tao group. So I have to make them a video, like a 30-second edit, basically showing the stuff that I filmed the last 2 times I was with them, announcing that they're going to be having a residency this year. But I'm like, I put all this like pressure on myself because I want it to be so good.
Of course.
So I'm a little bit stressed.
That's important though. That's like what makes shit good.
Yeah. And we were talking about this earlier, how like you get it done. You find a way.
Right.
Right now, I'm like so stressed about it, but I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get it done. I always do. I always will. And like,
gotta record the pod.
Dude.
Right.
Speaking of, I got 2 messages today that I shared with you guys.
Oh, it just makes it worth it, dude.
So
this is a bitch to put on.
Yeah, it is. Shout out Spencer and shout out Zane. They sent us like long, really thoughtful messages, and it just means the world. Like, it really warms my heart getting these messages because we're not getting to meet any of them yet. And so you don't really see the effect that it has on people.
Right.
And so getting these messages really makes us feel like, man, we're doing something right. And it makes us be like, you know what, even if I am stressed with client work and freelance stuff, like, gotta make time to make this pod.
Right. And I think like, it's just cool. I mean, yeah, we're like all been getting these messages and it's just like, thank you, man. Like, it just makes it feel a lot worth it. A lot of those kids that we're getting messages from actually were kind of what we want to touch on are debating if they should go to college or not, right?
Yeah.
They're either right before college, they're in college, or like questioning if they have enough time to make videos, etc. So we kind of want to talk about, we both went to college. We actually went to the same college.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Yeah, we
Shout
did.
out Wisconsin.
On
Badgers.
Wisconsin.
Also, way better of a school than Oregon.
Oh, just on Wisconsin, dude. And no one's going to say go Ducks tonight, and that feels really good. But like,
Yeah, fuck Oregon, huh?
I feel like we have a lot of like just thoughts on like what we learned, and I think we both are pretty good at like looking at it objectively and saying like what was worth it, what wasn't at all, and like where it kind of fits in.
Yeah.
But we were kind of just talking about. Wait, go ahead.
Real quick, side note about college. I was talking to a good family friend of mine a couple of days ago. We're catching up, and her daughter is getting ready to apply for colleges, and she told me that since COVID, none of these colleges it's not necessary for ACT or SAT scores.
What?
Yeah. I go, what the heck?
Wait, why?
Because I asked, I was like, what'd she take? She take the SAT or the ACT?
Right.
And she said she took the ACT, but it's not required
That's so weird.
to like submit your score.
That doesn't make any sense
Doesn't
to
make
me.
any sense.
But anyways, that's kind of whack. But we were just talking about, dude, like college was such formative years. We had, first of all, we had some embarrassing stories from college each. I think
Yeah, we did.
we had, there's a lot of good things, but I just want to start with there because that's so funny.
Lot to talk about, a lot of fun stories,
Right.
but definitely some embarrassing things.
Right. I have the most, when this happened to me, I remember thinking like, that's terrible. But for the rest of my life, if someone asked me what's my most embarrassing moment, sophomore year of college.
If we're on, I always think about this. If we're on, who wants to be a millionaire?
Right.
And the question is,
Right.
what's Chase's most embarrassing story?
You'll know what it is.
I know the answer.
Yeah, it's brutal, dude. Sophomore year of college, I decide to take my first like big venture out into the world. Through a program, I like go to Peru to teach English to Peruvian kids, which was a beautiful experience. I lived with the host family. It was insane way to travel. It was through a program. It was like a volunteer program. So it's just a little life hack. It was $500 for all lodging and food. Yeah, because for a month. Yeah, no,
Wow.
a month and a half, almost 2 months, because my host family like just supported me. Dude, they fucking love me. But
Was this during the summer? Was this
this was
during
the
your
summer,
semester?
the summer of sophomore year going into junior year.
Okay.
Best decision I ever made
Yeah.
for sure. It like changed who I am. But I go on a trip to like Ica, Peru. Like there's sand dunes there. I have some chicken. Is a little questionable. Take like a 12-hour bus ride back, and I'm not feeling great. I fucking go to bed and I'm like feeling a little feverish, right? Anyways, rush to the hospital because I'm like, it gets worse and worse and worse. I was at 36 degrees Celsius. My host family's like, that's totally fine. Don't worry about it. Go to bed. Wake up. It's at 41. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's a lot higher. Like, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that's bad. So we go to the hospital. Anyways, get treated, et cetera, et cetera. Come back. I had salmonella. It's fine. Go to bed. Wake up the next morning. I hear, Chase, desayuno. I hop downstairs and my whole host family, like the whole extended host family is there. Long table, just like this one.
Cousins.
Cousin, niños, like everything, dude. And we're chatting, I'm eating, I'm feeling better, I'm happy, I'm making jokes, whatever, doing my best Spanish. All of a sudden I have a little fart come on, right? Just a little one. I'm like, oh, I can let that go. No one's going to notice. You know, there's a lot of people going, a lot of hustling and bustling. Yeah. I'm wearing shorts and that's important. I let out a fart. I trusted it, just like I shouldn't have. And yeah, it was a waterfall of shit is what happened. Basically, it shot like down my shorts leg onto the ground. So it's like, dude, it was so bad. I like cinched up my shorts really tight with my hands, just the one leg. So for some reason it was leaning right, like my butthole or some shit. And I hobbled up the steps like this, and I just didn't look back, dude. I didn't look back, and I got all the way up the steps. And I remember looking at myself in the mirror, and I'm just like, you are disgusting. No girl's ever gonna kiss you ever again, and you just have to come to terms with that. And I just sat in the room for a while, and I like just couldn't even process what just happened. And then like 3 hours later, I come down. I'm like, I got to eat something. I'm thirsty. I can't hide in my room forever. Go down there. Extended family's gone. My host mom or someone, maybe God, mopped up the shit on the floor, and we never talked about it again. Never, ever. Not once. Dude, it was terrible. It was just shit everywhere. And I didn't have like they didn't have like laundry, right? They didn't have like classic washer dryer. So I just like had Axe body spray, and I just like in the shower, in the sink in my room. And I washed those fucking shorts, man. I didn't have a lot of clothes. I still have them. I should probably throw those out. Now that I think about it, I should really throw those out.
Oh,
I wore them
God.
like, oh yeah, dude. You probably know the shorts. Anyways, what's yours? You got one?
Well, hold on.
No, we
That was ridiculous.
yeah,
story.
it was gnarly. Dude.
You hadn't told me that in a while. That's fucking funny.
Yeah, it was brutal, man. The shorts, coming out of the shorts, having to cinch them up and hobble up the steps like one leg at a time was really tough.
I just love the fact, and you know that you have a good host family when clean it up. Let's never talk about this
So
again.
sweet. They understand. I think they know. Like I had salmonella. Like foreigners get this
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
I think they understood what happened, and they just didn't bat an eye.
Chase, ¿qué te pasó?
All right, ¿qué pasó? What happened
¿Qué
to you?
comiste?
They used to always say, "What happened to you, Chase?" Which was so cute. I would like screw up like my bus route or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, what happened to you? I thought it was super dumb, which was really funny.
That's a great
It was
story.
brutal. It was brutal.
Great story. So mine,
What year of this? Is it in college as well?
I was living in the frat house at the time. This was either sophomore or junior year. I
Okay.
want to say this was sophomore year.
Cool. Both of them sophomore year.
This must have been like first semester, pretty early on sophomore year.
Yep.
Anyways, so living in the frat house, go out to a social. So basically when one frat and one sorority like rent out a bar and you go and like you just like mingle with the
Explain it to me like the G'd that I am.
Yeah. You fucking G'd, bro.
Uh-huh.
So Chase wasn't in a frat. So if you're not in a frat, we call him G'd.
Here's the thing.
GDI.
I'm
Goddamn
celiac.
independent.
I'm a celiac. I can't drink beer. There's no way I would have made it into a frat. Anyways, keep
Yeah.
going.
So anyways, long story short, I end up hooking up with a chick.
Attaboy.
Yeah, just classic college. So we're in my room and we're on my bed and, you know, some alcohol was
Sure.
involved and I wasn't all the way in my correct headspace. So I end up like going to get off my bed. Like
Sure.
we're in bed. I go to like swing my legs off.
Were
of,
you, how high is up is this bed?
It was probably like as high as this table.
Okay,
Like it
got it,
was,
got it.
it was not low.
It wasn't just a mattress on the floor.
Yeah, no.
Got it.
So I go to get off the bed,
Uh-oh.
swing my legs off. Like I go to swing my legs off to the left,
Uh-huh.
and my legs, my ankles get caught in the sheets.
Oh, no.
So all of my like momentum is going to the left. So I just like fall off my bed, but I catch myself with my left hand.
Ooh.
And it hurts. Like it, boom. And I was like, oh my God, like that really hurt. And
And
she's like,
she's in the bed?
yeah. She's like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. So I get up, whatever, I'm fine. And then the next day I wake up, or I was like, I was hanging out with like some of my, like my buddies like later that night or whatever. And I was like, man, like my wrist really hurts. And one of my buddies like, wait, can you move it? I was like, yeah. She's like, oh, you're good. I go, great. Next day I wake up, it's hurting pretty bad. I'm like, damn. But I'm like, I'm okay. It'll get better. It's just whatever.
Sprained it.
Yeah. Like, I didn't even think I sprained it. I thought it was like, oh, it's bruised. Like, it hurts.
Sure.
Week goes by, or maybe even 2 weeks go by.
Wow.
And I'm like, my wrist still is fucking killing me. I gotta go to the hospital. I gotta go check this out. So I ended up breaking my wrist, and I didn't want to tell my mom what actually happened.
Sure, of course.
So I was like, oh, we were wrestling on the main floor of the frat house. And
You're just such a
like-
wrestler.
Yeah,
Ghost. You're
dude.
such a wrestler.
We were getting rowdy. Some alcohol was involved. And yeah, so I broke my wrist, but it was because I fell off my fucking bed.
So you broke your wrist making love. That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's something to be embarrassed about, if not proud. But anyways, College.
Did I finish the job? Yeah. dude.
Whoa. Hey-o.
Why aren't you smiling? You're up 2-0.
Right,
Job's
exactly.
not done. Job's not finished.
Job's not finished. Yeah, dude. LeBron came back from a 3-1 lead.
Yeah,
you know.
dude. Same.
So college,
Yeah. What a time, huh?
formative time. I feel like there are not like controversy, but there's a lot of different opinions about if you should go, if you shouldn't go. We want to talk specifically about like if you should go, if you're trying to be like a creator, if you're trying to do a photo, video, design, really anything that's just not like the working at Goldman Sachs.
Yeah. There's certain jobs that you absolutely need to go to college for. To get a degree, a doctor,
Right.
lawyer, whatever it may be.
I don't want to have a doctor that's like, yeah, college wasn't for me.
yeah.
That would really freak me out.
Exactly. There's certain jobs or careers that, you know, it's great if you have a college degree. It's not necessary.
Right.
And people like, you know, Gary Vee, for example, are just like, yo, fuck college. You don't need to go. Like, it's not worth it unless your parents are paying for it, yada, yada, yada. Like, it's not worth it. You don't need it in today's day and age.
Right.
Which is like fair to, you know, a certain extent. You don't need, depending on what you're doing, let's say it is specifically being a creator, which is what, you know, most of these people that are listening to our podcast are. You don't necessarily need a college degree, but we're going to talk about like if it's worth it to go and like what our thoughts are on it.
Absolutely. I think for me, the main thing was I don't use anything I learned in college. Well, in class, I should say.
Hey, this much, huh?
Like literally zero that I learned in class. I was a marketing major as well as a film major. I was a double major. It's no big deal. I was in the business school and the film school. It's not a big deal. But
It's a pretty big deal.
it's a pretty big deal. Yeah, you're right. Thank you. I literally learned nothing that I use today. Yeah, basically nothing. But I think that the things I learned in college from outside of class and the connections I made were absolutely invaluable.
Yeah.
I, one, made lifelong friends, like 10 of them, 5 of them. No offense, guys. List names. But like the main thing was, so I kind of got to start making money making videos because I got an internship with the business school actually. And it was a marketing internship, but I wrote on my resume, obviously it was radio, TV, film as well. And they hired me because of that, because they were like, we actually make internal videos. This like random marketing agency in Minneapolis. And so I just became like the in-house like videographer for them. And I was supposed to be a marketing thing, but I started making all their videos, right? And then they actually said, my manager, who was really like impactful in my life, shout out Amber, she's dope.
Shout out.
And she was like, look, I could probably get you a full-time job as a marketing person here, but like, I'm not going to do that for you because I know you don't want that. I know you want to make videos full time. She's like, we're going to hire you for freelance videos for like probably the rest of your life. And they still do. I still work with them all the fucking time. And that was like kind of like a gateway. And then all of a sudden senior year, I'm like making money for them, freelance, making videos. I can like finally pay for shit, dude. First time I don't have to like mooch drinks off friends because I had no fucking money in college.
Same. Dude. Just broke.
And that is like, and then I actually did a video with them that launched, that gave me like, it was like 15 grand for one video that got me enough money to buy a car and move out to LA. And I wouldn't have had that without college.
Yeah.
And I also wouldn't have had, I feel like I've gotten a lot of just random freelance stuff from like, oh, hey, I met this guy that you worked with, or like you made videos in college and he knew of you and he recommended you for this video. And all of a sudden I'm making racks, making fucking freelance videos, which is
dummy
great.
racks.
So I'd say network is the biggest pro.
And you know what is so cool about us going to Wisconsin particularly is when we meet another person that went to Wisconsin, nothing needs to be said.
No.
Because you're just like, God damn, we had the best fucking college experience.
Right.
Like Madison, what a great college town.
Couldn't agree more. But I don't want to seem like we're just jerking off college the whole time because there are a lot of cons as well and stuff that is bullshit.
100%. Real quick, you are way smarter than me getting into fucking film school and
academically, you're saying?
Yeah.
Probably objectively, yeah. In the academics, not in the whole world.
And you can quantify it because your boy just didn't get into business school.
Just didn't matter.
Here's the thing though. I didn't apply because I didn't have a high enough GPA to even like apply for the business school.
Yeah, I think you need like a 3.5 your freshman year or something.
Yeah, I was real below 3.
Sure.
Like, I don't even know. I think I graduated fun fact, really exposing myself here. I graduated, I believe, with a 2.3 GPA from college.
Holy shit. I didn't know that. I was like a 3.7, I think.
Yeah, you fucking nerd, you GDI.
I was, dude. Here's the thing.
Someone didn't party, huh?
Studied way too much. I partied my dick off, but I would get up Sunday and I would study the whole day, hungover or not. Sometimes I remember going to the library and yarfing in the bathroom and getting back to my studies, dude. I was focused, but it meant nothing.
Yeah.
If I could take it back, I would.
I studied a good amount, and I had to really study to like get passing grades in college.
Sure.
Which is definitely a con of college. Is like it takes a lot of time and effort to like do well in college.
Sure.
College is way different than high school. Like you can kind of bullshit your way, but like not nearly as much. Like you really need to like show up for class and do well on the midterm, because another thing that's different about college is oftentimes your grades are based off of a handful of tests. You get like 2 midterms and a final, and if you fuck up on those, you're screwed.
Right. And especially you don't have a lot of time to like you don't have a lot of time to go on shoots. You don't have a lot of time to like do like spec ads or like make music or whatever. It does take up a lot of time, which is kind of advantage. Like if you wanted to stay at home, you'd have a lot of time to like work on video shit. Yeah. It's also, and I think this is the main deterrent and the main knock against it, is it's extremely expensive. It's ungodly expensive, especially in the United States.
So how much was your tuition? I mean, we went to the same school, but you got in-state and I had to pay out-of-state.
Right. Minnesota and Wisconsin have like a cool little deal. Yeah. So I think mine was like, it was pretty sweet. I think it was $9,000 a year.
That's crazy.
Which yours was what, like
$40,000 a year.
Insane, dude. So I mean, my parents and I like split college basically, which was really nice. But I ended up with like, I think I have like $7,500 of student loans that I could take off, but basically I took out a loan just to study abroad, dude. I didn't need it. I could have totally passed by senior year with like no money. But I wanted to ball out abroad, and I'm so happy I did. And I'm still paying it off. Yeah. I'm still paying off those good times.
And it's all good.
Yeah.
Real quick, before I lose my train of thought, because I want to get back to like abroad and it being really expensive.
Please.
Me not being able to apply to the business school because my grades weren't great forced me to change my path. And had it not been for that, I wouldn't have studied communication. I wouldn't have taken production classes. I wouldn't have learned really about my love for like film and TV and using a camera. I think it was a combination between like social media being super prevalent at the time of us. Like Instagram was really, really prevalent during us going to college.
Right. And you were like fucking verified in college.
Sure.
Too, right?
Yeah. I mean, I was the first verified kid to go to Wisconsin. It's really not a big deal.
Is that true? Yeah. Do athletes not get verified in school?
I don't know. I just know that I was a big deal. I had a couple articles written about me getting stopped on the street. It's really not.
We cut so Chase could puke, but we're back. We're back.
So it was a transformative time in my life, because prior to that, I knew like I like to take photos and stuff and make videos, but I never really thought of it as like a career. And after I graduated high school, I was like, I'm not playing baseball anymore. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to start my own business, whatever it may be. Then I was like, fuck it. I want to start like a clothing line and do like fashion shit, because I thought I wanted to do that. And then all that didn't work out or whatever. And then I found like film and photography, and I was like, nah, this is it. And I don't think had it been for me going away to college, would I have like changed my direction and changed my path.
Dude, that's a big pro.
Yeah.
Is you figure out what you want to do. I didn't know. I knew that I love making videos. I never thought I could make it a career. I didn't really know what I wanted to do at all.
Yeah.
And it's not that you even, and you do learn some of that in class, like kind of like, oh, I'm interested in that. I'm not interested in that at all. But mostly like just talking to people that were so outside, because when you go to college, people come from basically all over the world, really, especially all over the US, to come there, and you just get like so many new perspectives. I learned about new music that I like, new movies that I liked, all sorts of things. I learned about cooking, I learned about all sorts of things, and you like take some things, you're like, oh, I don't like those at all, but I'm glad I don't know. And now you're like, oh, I really like those things. And you get exposed to so much shit, which is so powerful.
I didn't know what a fucking a brat was. I didn't know what a fucking cheese curd was.
Of course you didn't.
I didn't know shit about the Midwest.
Right.
And that was like really interesting to me, because hands down, had it not been for college, I would have never lived anywhere else besides LA, maybe New York.
Right.
I don't see myself living either or another city besides LA or New York. And so getting that experience to like learn what the fuck like
And just
another
like,
state is like.
and it's important. I think it's really important from someone that came from the Midwest that now lives on the coast.
Yeah.
That's just a total bi-coastal elite. Dude, I am the most bi-coastal elite you've ever met. It's disgusting. Just kidding. But it's important because most of the country does not live here, like a majority of it.
Yes.
And I feel a lot of the times this person from the Midwest that like a little neglected. People always call them flyover states. They're like, they pretend like people like us don't matter, and it sucks. And I think it's bullshit. And I think that there's so much people that like, if you're, say you're making content, right? It's not only going to be consumed by people in LA and fucking New York. You know what I mean? So I think moving, like if you can go to college out of state, I think it's another pro because you are exposed to new shit and you learn new stuff.
Yeah. But with going to school out of state comes
fucking expensive.
More expensive. And I was very fortunate where my parents were in the financial position to pay for my college.
Right.
And fun fact is my dad, when I graduated, made sure to have me take off my cap and gown and say, let me put it on. I'm getting a fucking photo with this because I'm the one who fucking paid for this. Which I thought was hilarious.
That's your most your dad thing of all time. Oh, dude, that's so funny.
But it is really expensive. I understand that I am and was in a very fortunate position where like I don't have student loans. Mm-hmm. Some people are in the same position as me and some people aren't. Mm-hmm. So I think you really got to think about like, is the fucking $160,000 that like my parents or I am going to invest,
right?
Like, is it worth it? And you know, sometimes it fucking isn't, because when you look at it from strictly like an educational standpoint, we're talking about that most of the stuff that we learned in class like could have been learned on the internet. And like specifically for what we're doing, I've learned way more from like going out and using a camera, being on set, trial and error, and even YouTube, where like from an educational standpoint, like I don't even know if it really is worth it.
I mean, career-wise,
Yeah.
I could go either way. If you're trying to be like a photo video person, honestly, I know people like my good friend Jay, who I went to high school with, dropped out of college, and was just like, I'm just gonna fly the fuck out of these little drone things. It was like when Phantom 3 was out, and now he flies for all the biggest. He made that bowling alley FPV video, like
crazy,
insane pilot, right? And would have not had time to learn all those drone skills had he stayed in college. I think for me, I'm really glad I went to college because I kind of work like the agency route. I deal with like business, that kind of thing, the stuff that I did learn in college, but mostly it's like I learned a lot in this is actually a tip. If you are going to college, I really recommend, and you wouldn't have time in your frat or like if you're an athlete, but I really recommend doing orgs. I learned so much in student orgs, dude, like way more. I learned like
org is short for organization.
Right.
It's clubs.
Yeah, like clubs. Like I learned like how to work in a team, like how to do stuff. I was always like the photo video person, but I learned like basically what I do now was like what I was doing in organizations, like student orgs in a really small scale. Yeah. And I also just met a lot of cool people.
100%. And I want to touch on that more. Braden, would you like to add anything?
Nope, nothing.
Yeah, no,
Classic.
nothing.
Dude, just crickets over there. Unreal. All night, dude. It's just been so quiet.
Really peaceful. Honestly, it's so nice. I feel like we really have a good thing going.
Yeah,
just
dude.
the two of us.
No, just no one's interrupting us. I got to feed his fish later, but that's fine. But yeah, dude, college is good.
What I will say though is I was talking to Braden about this, and he was specifically about sports videography. He was like, a lot of these teams will use having a college degree as a way to like sift through people.
Right.
Unfortunately, like if you don't have a college degree, unless you are like insanely talented or have some sort of like inside connection, they're just going to overlook you because it's a way to like weed out certain kids. Right. So from talking to Braden, specifically getting into sports videography, like even though you may not learn a ton, just having that degree is worth it and will give you a leg up to get that corporate job. Not a corporate job, but like a job within like
an organization.
Sure.
Yeah. He also was talking about, and I totally agree with this, as we said, like every job he's ever gotten was from someone he knew from school. Like I know he got the Lakers job through a girl he knew at Oregon, etc. And I think that is really important. You just have like, you really like diversify your reach, and because you hang out with kids that do so many different things, and you get exposed, like you have connections. I have connections in banking, commercial real estate, marketing, like everything.
And not only in different sectors of
business,
work and business, but different fucking places.
Right.
Growing up in LA, right? Really growing up in like any town. Mm-hmm. It's rare that you know people elsewhere. right?
Right.
It's like, unless you went to like sleepaway camp
Sure.
or have like a family friend or whatever, it's like, how the fuck am I going to have friends in Wisconsin, Chicago, New York, Seattle, whatever it may be? And I think one of the biggest pros is just like growing your network and meeting people from different parts of the world, specifically different parts of the US, and growing that network, because you never know what other people are going to go on to do. And because college is such a like transformative time in your life, it's one thing, you know, your high school friends, but the friends you make in college, you just have like a different bond with.
Yes. Because I think it's because you are like closer to who you are now in college.
You also get, for the first time, you get to choose. Like you have the option of kind of like
freedom.
Yeah, you have the freedom of like getting to choose who you are friends with and who you're not. When you're in high school, I feel like it's so determined by like who you sit next to in class or who lives close to you.
Right,
or
because like your neighbors and shit.
Yes.
We're in college, you really do get to pick your friends like by interest.
Yes.
The other thing is that you are in the same boat as everyone.
Yeah.
So you kind of get to grow up slowly for 4 years. You get to transition because it's a really hard transition.
Dude, I
from
struggled.
being like 18 to 22. That is a hard time to transition.
I almost didn't stay all 4 years. I really struggled being away from home, LA specifically. The Wisconsin winters really affected me a lot.
Dude.
That seasonal depression is
Yeah,
real.
it's real. You know, I actually, my friends don't know this, but I felt the same way. I like freshman year was really hard for me because I mean, I was just used to like being at home, like with a really supportive family.
Yeah.
And there was like, I wasn't like cool in high school. I wasn't like drinking really, not until like the very end of senior year. And all of a sudden, I mean, Wisconsin, a lot of drinking there.
Yeah.
And I wasn't ready for it, to be honest. And it kind of freaked me out. And there's a lot going on. I'm so glad I stuck with it, but there is a change. But the thing is that everyone's in the same boat. Everyone is in like kind of figuring it out like the first time they're on their own. I remember my sophomore year of college. That's like usually when you live not in the dorm, right? We all got our own. It was like me and 5 buddies that I met in my freshman year floor. We all got our own house. And I remember the first day we were like, what the fuck do we do? We have no rules here. Like it was the first time, like, 'cause in your dorm, you kind of have rules. Sophomore year, we were like, what do we do? But I remember, I mean, I won't say any names or anything. I wake up the first morning, and again, like I've always been kind of like a goody guy. I'm kind of losing that. Fuck the ruls nowadays. But like, dude,
Chase.
But I wake up my first morning, and everyone's like, dude, this is crazy. We can do like anything we want. All of a sudden, this kid that we're living with is just like selling drugs to people out of our house. I'm like, okay, we can do whatever we want, but like, I don't know if we need to be like selling drugs now. Like, this is insane. But you like grow. You grow
moved into a trap
together.
house?
Yeah, I lived in the
trapping?
trappiest house, dude. College Court. That's the trappiest place you can live in Wisconsin.
Huh? Pushing P in College Court.
Just pushing P big time. But you're in the same boat, so you get to grow up slowly with everyone around you, and it's like you have a huge support system in that way to like transition because you're on your own, but everyone else is on their own too together. It's nice.
I mean, there's something to do damn near every night, and like you can leave your dorm room or your apartment, and you don't gotta tell nobody where you going or what you doing.
Right.
And that's a crazy like amount of freedom.
Right. I think it's important. And like we also have said, college does give you the chance to study abroad, which is a really beautiful thing because you have like an organized way to go on a really big trip and like live independently in a completely different country. And I think that was really important for both of us and Braden, I know too, because that's when we kind of like learn some creativity. I feel like we both it kind of sparked us and we started making a lot of videos, like everything.
And similar to how, I got to learn about really a different type of way of living and culture, like in Wisconsin. It's just very different than LA. Then I got it again because I got to live in Rome. You got to live in Norway. Like, it's such a different way of life. And it's so eye-opening and so beautiful to see how other cultures, work.
Right. What do you think is like the number one thing overall that you would say that you learned in college? And make a case for going and make a case for not going. Like a little both, if you're, what boat you're in, depending on where you're at.
You tell me your biggest takeaway first, because I need to give it some thought.
Okay. I remember really specifically sophomore year being like, I've never thought about who I was. I never had like the self-awareness of being like, oh, that's who I am. That's what I like. That's what I don't like. And I remember sophomore year literally thinking like, I think I'm learning who I am right now. I'm like, I didn't know. In high school, I was just like going with the pack, right? Everyone liked hockey. I'll like hockey, whatever. Sophomore year, I was like, yeah, I'm kind of kind of beat to my own drum. I like making videos. I like doing these things. I don't like doing those things. I love jumping in cold water, etc. And I was like, I remember really feeling like, oh, this is who I am. That's great. And I don't think I would have had that had I not been in college because of all the things that I was just like exposed to. I would just say yes, no, yes, no. You're basically like swiping right on left on interests. You know what I mean? And I think that was a really important moment for me. And I think about that all the time. For cons, it is.
I want to say one thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
One of my favorite attributes about you is that I really feel like you know who you are. And you don't waver from it. And it's really inspiring and it's really like cool to see. Because
Thanks,
I feel like sometimes me personally, I think I really am still trying to figure out who I am. And it's actually something I think I struggle with. But to see you just be like, this is what I fucking like. This is who I am. It's really beautiful. And it inspires me to do the same.
I appreciate that. But again, I don't think I would have had that without college. I also met you in college, which is like this whole thing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? This whole thing isn't a thing had that not happened.
I tell my parents, my whole college tuition was just worth Chase's.
Fuck yeah, dude. Come on. But cons is expensive. I mean, I had no fucking money, dude. I wasn't buying textbooks. I would literally, if I could ever do a group thing, like a lot of times you had a chance to like work independently or with a partner, and it would always be like, I need a partner that has a textbook because I can't afford to buy one because they're fucking expensive.
Dude, fuck textbooks.
Yeah. Also, most of the time, hey, another tip, you don't need to buy the textbook.
Don't buy the textbook.
Go to the lecture, the first lecture, and you can tell if they're going to use the textbook. If they're not, most of the time they don't. I never fucking did, dude.
Yeah.
I didn't have any money. I would rather spend that on like Chipotle and Rums and Cokes at the fucking you know?
There you go. Another pro about college, specifically Wisconsin.
Just the cheapest drinks in the world.
The cheapest drinks. Oh my God. You can just drink a lot for not that much money.
I remember saying out loud in Wisconsin, we went to the W, and it was like junior year. It was 21, I promise, and totally 21. And
totally.
I remember saying out loud, I don't know if I can have another drink. I don't want to spend the $4. I know I said that. I remember saying that. Now a drink, dude, I remember Lane and I's first date. We went to Mountain, which is a sick restaurant at Abercrombie. 2 drinks each. Yeah. I got the bill. This is my first like time going out in LA. $78.
Holy shit.
Before tip. Dude, it was insane. That's 4 drinks. Yeah, so go to
And then you're convincing yourself like this service wasn't that great. He doesn't need to get a nice tip.
Oh, dude, I tipped this guy like fucking shit. Now the place is closed. Probably my fault. But yeah. Oh God, it's cheap. But you don't really realize it at the time. I do remember being frustrated because I was like, I knew I wanted to do photo video stuff. And I'm like, I have no fucking time to do it. And I didn't have any money, and I would have had a lot more money if I just like didn't pay for food or whatever if I lived at home. But also, if you're living at home, you kind of just feel like you didn't leave. Like everyone else is leaving. I feel like that would have been really hard on mental health, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I can go either way.
100%. I would say my biggest takeaway, kind of like the biggest thing I learned was I remember junior year, right of high school, when I was thinking about going to college. And I was like, I don't know what I want to study. I don't know where I want to go to college. Only thing I knew is I wanted to get out of LA. Yeah. I don't know why. I was like, it's going to be good for me. I've never been really living anywhere. I've never lived anywhere else. Something in my gut told me like, get out of your comfort zone and go experience something new. Best decision I could have made. And trusting your intuition and trusting your gut and just getting out of your comfort zone anytime you can. Cause you don't grow as a person when you're stagnant doing the same stuff.
Couldn't agree more.
You don't grow until you get out of your comfort zone.
Yep.
And I knew I was going to look back and appreciate the fact that I left home, and I really do. And I'm really like happy that I made that decision.
A lot of times people say like leave so you can come back. Or else you just wonder what it would have been like. You know what I mean? The other thing I want to talk about was what you were saying about how you could just like feel it in your gut.
Yeah.
This is kind of unrelated, but I remember my first time really feeling like that was when I went to Peru. I saw a picture of the town, Arequipa, randomest fucking program, randomest town, whatever. As soon as I saw a picture, I was like, oh, I'm going there. And you can just, sometimes like you don't know why you just need to LA. It's just like you needed to leave LA. I think all the best decisions I've ever made, you can just feel it right away. So don't force anything. This is a random tip. But like if you don't force anything, if you feel like a really strong sense that you need to do something for whatever reason, there doesn't have to be a reason. If you just feel like you do, I think that's some divine intervention telling you to do it.
And you don't owe anyone an explanation for why you're doing it.
Absolutely not.
And most things in life you should do solely because you want to do them.
Right.
And I think when you're growing up, it's like, oh, I'm going to do this because like my mom and dad want to do this.
Right.
And I think as you get older and you grow up, it's like, it's really important to do things and make decisions based on your own want to do that.
Yes. Really quick.
I do want to give my con.
Oh, please.
I remember being in Wisconsin, and as much fun as it was and as great as it was, I remember feeling stuck. You don't have a car. There's not much to do in fucking Wisconsin other than the fucking 5 block by 5 block radius of fucking campus. And I remember feeling like, fuck, man, if I lived in LA, because at this time I was like kind of wanting to pursue like YouTube and like, and like doing all that stuff. And like LA is really like the mecca for this shit, right?
Absolutely.
So I almost felt a little bit of like FOMO and like a little bit behind on shit because I was like, if I was in LA, I'd be able to meet fucking people specifically in LA and have opportunities and go to events and all this kind of stuff. And I feel part of me at the time was like, I would be able to progress in my career a little bit faster. Also, a lot more people in LA are kind of open-minded to the creative career. A lot of people in Wisconsin were very closed-minded in a sense. It's a lot
about like financial jobs, accounting, that kind of stuff.
And so I just remember getting like teased a little bit for doing what I wanted to do as far as like making the YouTube videos and finding it kind of hard to find people that I related to and kind of like clicked with. I think that's why we got along so well, is because like we had like, you're one of the first people I met in college where I was like, fuck man, we have this like similar interest in like film and YouTube and social media and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, it was a lot harder for me, I think, to find that in Wisconsin, where I was a little bit more used to finding people like that in LA. So I think that was like kind of my con of just like feeling a little bit stuck. And
that's a really good one.
And dealing with like the weather too, but just feeling like creatively frustrated.
Do you want to do, and we didn't prepare this at all.
Great.
Just like, let's rattle off some quick college tips. If you do decide to go, I can go first.
Okay.
This is one my brother gave me. I think it's a good one. I didn't use this every time, but I did use this a lot. When you're in class, when you go to class, right? If you go to class, you should go to class.
You don't gotta though.
This is what my brother always told me. I use this sometimes, probably not as often as I could have. Sit next to the hottest girl in class for one reason. It's because if she asks you a question about the lecture, you have to fucking know it. So you're going to pay attention. And then you just stay focused. You know what's really funny? He kept telling me that. I go to college. I go to my first ever lecture, Econ 101. And I sit next to a really pretty girl, right? Because I'm listening to his thing and I'm fucking paying attention. We like, get to know each other a little bit. Don't see her for a little bit. Now that girl has been dating my best friend Tommy for like 5 years. Maybe 6. And they're going to get married. They're like the perfect couple. I couldn't be happier. And I'm like, I knew Anne first.
Did you introduce them?
I didn't introduce them, but I knew her. I was like, oh, vouch for her. I was like, that girl's cool. I sat next to her once in econ. You know what I mean? Like,
you vouched for her or you vouched for him?
Well, I vouched for both of them, really. But I told him, like, I actually met this girl once because I was told. And I love telling that story. She's always flattered. You know what I mean? But
that's awesome.
That's a good little tip.
Yeah. Mine would be get your hand on a good fake ID.
Sure.
A better tip is find someone that looks like you
with a real ID.
Older with a real ID.
That is better.
Wisconsin was a big bar school.
Yeah.
And if you didn't have a good fake, it was kind of like social suicide because like not
stressful.
Getting into certain. I remember being fucking stressed getting into these bars.
And I remember just walking campus with a group of fucking freshmen looking for a house party, which is not easy.
Yeah, no. Especially in a big squad.
And especially when it's cold.
Yeah.
Okay, I got another one.
I got a couple more, but that was a fun one.
That's a good one.
We like to drink on this podcast, have a good time.
Yeah, dude. Drinking is okay. My next one, we kind of touched on this. I would say, and this is going to sound risky, depends on your major. Some schools, like if you want to get into law school, you need a really good GPA. I got too good of a GPA. I studied too much to the point where it didn't help me at all. I learned in college, senior year, I didn't study at all, and it was the best year of my life. And I actually got fine fucking grades because you can either study really hard and get an A, or you can study just a little and get a B. Yeah. And that's better because you could have more time with your friends. You learn more about the stuff. Because like we're saying, you don't learn a lot in fucking class. You just don't. It's stupid. It's kind of broken. So study just as much as you need to. Don't overstudy. You don't need a 4.0. Again, unless you're like actually being a doctor. But if you're being a doctor, you're probably not listening to this podcast. And that's okay.
Exactly. I would say wherever you go to school, get to know the town.
Yes.
there's so many different things that like colleges have to offer, right? Where it's like different places to eat. I mean, granted, if you don't have that much money, it's like we're buying groceries and cooking at home, cooking ramen noodles, but like explore where you're at and kind of do mini travel in a sense, but almost just like get cultured where the fuck you are and get to know that town. Yeah, because a lot of like the big colleges are in really interesting towns, and I think it's like, yo, that's my go-to place to go get a fucking like a bagel like on a Sunday with my friends, or like there was a bar that did like steak and eggs, the KK, like go to the KK after a night of drinking, get like steak and eggs and stuff.
Go to Friday after class for sure. It's a blast. I don't know if that's a tradition at wherever you go, but in Wisconsin, right after class ends on Friday, probably like what, 4 p.m.
Yeah, it depended on the year. Sometimes it would start at like 1, sometimes it would start at like 4.
Go to the bars with your buddies, play darts, whatever, and just get fucking drunk, because it's a blast. For some reason, getting day drunk right after class ends on Friday is the best. Yeah. But I had another one.
I have one.
Please.
Make a conscious effort to fucking remember people's names.
Yes, dude, because you're going to meet a lot of people.
I know it's tough. I've really struggled with this. This is one of the biggest takeaways I had from college, is like, you're going to meet a fucking lot of people, and it's really hard to meet or to remember names. But, and if you have to, fucking write them down in your notes with like a description, whatever, especially if you know you're going to fucking see that person again.
Yes.
There's nothing more embarrassing than reintroducing yourself or asking them like, oh, what is your name again? Especially like after a couple times, especially when they fucking know your name.
Right.
So college, but in life, make a conscious effort to fucking remember people's names.
It's really important. Another one I was going to say, kind of going off that, a precursor to that, if you will, is just push yourself out of your comfort zone to meet people. Yeah. I remember like right when you get into your dorm room freshman year, it's pretty intimidating. Yeah. There's a ton of people. You don't know any of them. You need to meet people quick.
But but everybody's in the same boat, like you were saying.
So no one knows anyone, right? Yeah. Get like a little thing you can hand to people. My brother gave me like a 6-pack of beer, and he was like, he's like, I know you can't drink these. That's fine. Just hand them out to people the first day you're there. And God, that helps. Like, just
networking tip. This should have been on our last pod.
Push yourself to meet people, dude. Yes. Because it'll make the whole experience a billion times better.
Yes. Dude, I agree. I think like, and this kind of was actually, I was thinking, I wanted to say this on our last pod about networking. Say hi to like everyone, and say it like as soon as you see them. Yeah. Because there's times where you'll be like, you know, either in class, and like you've made eye contact with people, or like you're at a bar, and like next thing you know, you're fucking in a circle talking to people, and you know you've been standing next to this person who you haven't said a word to, and like you both know. But yeah, so say hi. I know that like social anxiety can play a part into it, and that's what I struggle with, but like the sooner you can say hi and make that introduction, just like the easier shit will be. But another thing I was gonna say is try a lot of different things. Similar to how you like joined orgs, like I didn't really do anything besides my frat, and that's kind of one thing I wish I did was like join a student org. And like the beautiful thing about colleges is they have probably a club or an extracurricular activity or like a class that you can take or join that is about something you might like, a topic you might be interested in. I took 2 like acting classes.
Oh, cool.
And it was part of college. It wasn't like a student org or anything. It was like a class that I took, and I had to do like monologues in front of the class. God, am I like bad at memorizing lines, but it pushes you out of your comfort zone, and it also made me it forced me to meet people who were like in the arts department that like were so different than the kids in my fraternity. So try different things, because college is honestly a time to like learn as much as you can about yourself. So
that's like the number one goal, literally. Just learn as much as you can about yourself. Try a ton of stuff. Take a lot of different weird classes that don't have anything to do with each other.
Totally.
You're not just there to like get through it and play video games, you know? Also eat vegetables, because I didn't remember to eat vegetables for like a year, and I felt like shit.
So, okay, tell me, overall, would you say college is worth it?
Yes, if it's going to put you in less than $100,000 of debt. That's what I would say.
I agree.
$100,000, that's a big hole to climb out of, and you're going to be climbing out of that for a really long time.
College debt is a serious problem.
What about you?
Yeah, I mean, it is. I think like, you know, it is fucking expensive. Of course, I'm saying that as like I didn't pay for it.
Right, but still.
But college is fucking expensive. But I think there's certain things that you just can't put a monetary value on.
Absolutely.
And those fucking college experiences
Yep.
and the things you learn, the growing up you do, like the friends you make.
Forever.
Forever.
We still hang out. I still see my college friends at least a few times a year, and we live all over the country.
It's like so much more worth it, and it's like you can't put a price on that. So I say it absolutely is worth it.
Yeah, and with that, we're going to wrap up this fantastic episode of the 505 podcast.
I wonder why it was so good.
I just feel like there's no one like just really mad dog in the conversation, you know? But please lob up just this podcast on your story. You can even link now with IG. You don't need 10K followers. Yeah. Send us messages. We love them.
Yeah, send us messages. Let us know if you guys have any ideas of what you guys want to hear us talk about on the podcast.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel's been ripping lately. Yeah, really subscribe, like, fucking make friends in the comments, as our good friend Chris D'Elia says. On. Make a lot of friends in the comments. There we go. Get in arguments. Who cares? It still helps the algorithm. Yeah. And we'll see you next week. Peace.
Peace.